massive night here at the Kia Oval. Surrey's final group game in this year's NatWest T20 Blast, and the equation is pretty simple. Surrey have to win tonight and then hope Essex lose their game, and then we get down to net run rate. But I think all Surrey can do is really focus on their job, and that is beating the Kent Spitfires here this evening. Named a squad of 14 yesterday. Stephen Davis misses out, having had an injection in his shoulder, but still Surrey will put out a very strong 11 for this one tonight. And as I say, the simple equation is Surrey have to win tonight to have any hopes of making the quarter-final. So to see whether that can happen, stay with us here on Surrey TV, where you'll miss none of the action. Well, Surrey won the toss and batted first. In front of over 23,000 people at the Kia Oval, Jason Roy and Aaron Finch made their way to the middle. Finch struck the first boundary of the night when he whipped Matt Coles behind square, and he followed that up by smashing David Griffith straight down the ground for 4 more. Finch looked in the mood as Surrey knew they had to go big to get their net run rate up. Roy then played the most gorgeous drive on the up through the covers, and he then spotted the Coles slower ball and clipped him down the ground to the OCS stand boundary rope. Roy looked in the mood for a big one as the 50 arrived for Surrey in the 6th over, and the crowd were loving it. Roy began to pull all his shots out of the bag, flicking Griffiths from outside his off stump to the fine leg boundary, and then dancing down the pitch and whipping the ball away for 4 more. Something special was happening as Roy came down the pitch to James Treadwell's first delivery and struck him into the pavilion for 6. And Roy then took Coles off a length and launched him over mid-wicket for another maximum. Roy was dropping the hammer as he reverse swept Darren Stevens one bounce for 4, and Finch then struck Stevens into the pavilion for an enormous 6 as the runs continued to arrive at a startling rate. Roy was treating the crowd to a masterclass of T20 batting, and his dancing feet saw him paddle sweeping Will Gibman for consecutive boundaries down to fine leg. Roy then paddled Gibman over Sam Billings for 4 more as the runs continued to flow and the partnership continued to hurt Kent. Roy had moved to his 50 from 29 balls, and Finch followed him when he pulled Stevens for 6 as the Finch 50 came from 38 deliveries. The 100 partnership had arrived in the 10th over, and it soon became a record opening stand in T20 cricket for Surrey as Finch put Gibman into the middle tier of the pavilion for another enormous 6. Roy had moved into the 90s by this point, and his quite brilliant 100 arrived as he smashed Griffith straight down the ground for 4. It had been a magical display from Roy, with his century arriving from 62 balls with 15 fours and 3 perfectly struck 6s. The partnership was worth a record 187 when Finch eventually went in the 18th over for 79, but with Roy he treated the crowd to a masterclass of batting. Roy wasn't done though, as he played the most audacious reverse flick to the 3rd man rope, but Surrey were 2 down when Tom Curran was bowled by Griffiths for 4. Roy carried his bat though to finish 120 not out, and he left to a richly deserved 23,000 person standing ovation. Surrey had posted 213 for 4, and Daniel Bale-Drummond came out for Kent and played his shots knowing his side had to score their runs as quickly as possible. Bale-Drummond had raced to 31, but a terrific slower ball from Sam Curran saw him go and leave Kent 35 for 1 in the 4th over. Ben Foakes then produced a terrific piece of work in the 8th over to run out Joe Denley for 20 and leave Kent 67 for 2. And that became 71 for 3 when Gareth Batty had Sam Billings stumped down the leg side for 1. The Mexican wave had already started by this point, and Kent found themselves 106 for 4 in the 13th over when Chris Morris bowled Alex Blake for 13. And 3 balls later, Morris had Darren Stevens brilliantly caught by that man Roy for 1 to leave the chase in tatters. Matt Coles followed, again really well caught on the boundary by Jason Roy, this time off the bowling of Azhar Mahmood for 1. Sam Northeast had played a great hand for Kent going past 50, but when he failed to Dernbat for 59, the game was over as Kent finished on 175 for 7, and Surrey won their final game of this year's T20 competition by 37 runs.